is probably the most this is going to be the most valuable thing you learn in this entire program, I can imagine. This is something that will be extremely beneficial across your appointment setting career. Maybe you progress onto doing closing, which will this is even more important in closing. And if you decide to start your own business and stuff like this in the future, then this is definitely a skill that you're going to need. This is a very valuable skill that can be applied for many different areas of life. Objection handling is like the backbone of sales. If you're good at handling objections, you're probably good at sales. So very important, very, very important subject today, boys. Getting full screen for this. So, objection handling. What is objection handling? So in sales, of course, unfortunately, the sales process isn't always as smooth as we would like it. It doesn't always. It's not. In an ideal world, you would get them on a call, or you'd message them and they would just answer yes. Do you want to book a call? Do you want to buy? Yes. Bang, you've got a sale. But unfortunately, it doesn't always look like this. Sometimes it might look like yes. Everything seems like it's going well. No. Oh, you don't want to book a call? Why? I don't have time. Oh, okay, fair enough. Have a good day. That's what obviously that's what beginners will do, of course. Things don't always go perfect. They're not always going to want to book a call. They're not always going to want to buy your product. Many of you guys that have had sales calls with me when I was obviously inviting you into the program, you might have said no at first. I might have had to handle your objections to actually get you to join this program. Objection handling is a very important part because like most of the time you're going to have to handle at least one objection to actually get to that final point, that final yes, whether that's booking a call or closing the deal. So objection handling is something that you're going to need to learn for appointment setting, for actually booking these calls. And it's also going to be something that you need to learn for actually doing your personal prospecting. But before you've signed your first deal, you might actually have to handle some objections in order to even get hired in the first place. So we're going to be talking about that today. So there's lots of different types of objections. There's a couple of different types, and we're going to handle them slightly different ways. And again, I say this all the time, but in sales, we are both chess players and we are also professional problem solvers. It's our duty to help these people get to their desired situation. It's our duty to help these people in some way, shape or form. We are here to provide value to them. Sometimes they don't realize that they need our help or they would benefit from our services. So it's our job as salesmen to help give them the courage to say yes, take that first step into receiving the help that they need. Okay? So again, a lot of the time they don't have the courage to say yes. They don't realize that this is something that benefits them. So we've got to try and ask the right questions in order to make them feel comfortable saying yes. That's our job. We're not here to convince them. We are here to ask the right questions so that they can convince themselves. That's our job, and that's what objection handling is for. That's the difference between low-level objection handlers and high-level objection handlers. Low-level objection handling is just saying, let's say someone says, I can't afford it. Okay, I'll give you a discount. So now you can afford it. High-level objection handling would be like, okay, yeah, I completely understand. It is quite a big price. But of course, in order to achieve these goals, we will require some investment. Just curious though, bro, money aside, let's say we could get you started today for free. Is this something that you see yourself achieving your goals through? Does this seem like something you're interested in joining? Money aside. That's high-level objection handling. You're asking the right questions. Instead of just trying to convince them or trying to negotiate with them, you are asking the right targeted questions. Chess move, boys. So again, I'm waffling. There's such a big topic for us to cover. But the three main types of objections are things to do with their current circumstances and their personal situation. So circumstances and current situation. The other people, parent, decision makers, etc. And the last one is just themselves. So, we're just going to call that self. So these are the three main types of objections: circumstances, other people, and self. Circumstances, this is things like, let's say, I can't at the moment because I don't have time, I'm working a full-time job. Current situation. Other people was things like I need to speak to my partner and I need to speak to my boss or something like that. So they've got to ask permission from someone else. And then self is like trust-based objections. Like, I need to think about it. That's the typical one, right? These three different types of objections. Of course, we handle them in different ways. Again, chess moves, depending on the chess move that they play, we're going to return with a targeted chess move to counter their attack. That's what we want to be doing here, boys. So some typical objections that you might encounter when you're first trying to sign your first client. We'll go through like one of each. So circumstances. We're not looking to hire any more staff at the moment. We are very busy. We are not looking to hire any more staff at the moment. We are very busy. This would be a circumstance objection. Other people objection. I need to. It sounds good, but in fact, no. I will need to speak to my business partner I'll need to speak to my business partner about it. That is an example of an other people objection. So he can't hire you right now because he can't sign the contract. He can't hire you right now. He can't pay you right now because he needs to speak to his business partner. A self objection would be, I don't feel comfortable letting you on my account. These are some objections that you might encounter when you are still trying to find your first clients. This is a self-objection, this is an other people objection, and this is a circumstance objection. And we handle these in different ways. I can't go that way. So, circumstance. We're not looking to hire any more staff at the moment. We are very busy. When it comes to handling objections, it's important to show empathy. Showing empathy is very important because it disarms them. If they're giving you an objection, they've got their guard up. They're ready to fight you. But if you show empathy, then you're going to disarm them, lower their guard a little bit, and make them trust you a little bit more. Because if they're giving you objections, it's likely a smokescreen because they don't trust you or some other underlying reason. You need to understand this, boys. Half of the time, if someone gives you an objection, that's not the real objection. These are called smokescreens. So let's say someone says, "I need to think about it." In reality, what's going through their head is probably, "I don't trust this guy. It's too expensive." Or some other reason. They throw out these smokescreen objections because they don't have the confidence to tell you straight to your face what the real problem is. So by showing empathy, this disarms them. You need to show that you understand them. You need to understand where they're coming from. You understand why they are saying no. You're not trying to fight them. You're not here to convince them. You're not just another salesman. You need to connect with them on a man-to-man level, and that's where empathy comes in. It's the most important part about this whole thing. Showing empathy, understanding your prospects will help you get a lot further than just trying to fight with them. You don't want to make this a standoff. Okay, you don't want to make this a standoff. You don't want to seem like you're just going backwards and forwards arguing. That's not how this works, boys. That's not how this works. That's not how we get what we want. So you need to show empathy. Okay, yeah, I understand you're very busy at the moment. Have you considered the fact that hiring an appointment setter would help free up time on your end? Just asking a question, just genuine. I'm just curious. Yeah, but not even yeah. I get that. Yeah, I completely get that, bro. Have you ever considered that? I completely get that, bro. Have you ever considered that this might help you free up some time on your end? And yeah, this might not even work. This might not even actually handle the objection, but it's worth a try. And by asking this question, you've at least gotten one step closer. You've showed that you understand, and then you can add another question on the end of that. But again, try to come across as genuine as possible. You're not trying to fight them. Empathy and disarm them. Disarm them and then solve that problem. Isolating. So isolating objections is definitely a very good tool. So let's say with this same objection, will I need to speak? I don't need to speak. Can I use it? You know, I suppose I could. I'm gonna do it with both. Actually, I was gonna use it with this one, but I can use it with both of these two. So isolating the objection, what that means is you're basically taking the main concern and you're just putting it aside for a moment, right? You're isolating the main problem here. So we'll start with this guy. We're very busy at the moment, so again, I'm going to show empathy. Completely understand. I completely understand, brother. Hypothetically, if you did have a bit more time at the moment, is this interested? Hypothetically, if you did have a bit more time at the moment, is this something that you'd be interested in? This works really well for price objections. Let's say you've offered a monthly retainer and they don't like your price. You've offered £500 a month. Okay, bro, yeah, I completely understand. It's a lot of money to pay up front. Just curious though, bro, just curious. If price wasn't a barrier, if you could afford this at the moment, is this something that you'd be interested in? I've probably said that to you guys on calls, on calls. Like some of you guys that have maybe had price objections, because obviously this is a little bit more on the expensive side for an online course. I might have said this to you, right? Okay, I understand, but if you did have the money at the moment, is this something you'd be interested in? And then we can go to set up a payment plan or something like that, right? Completely understand. Hypothetically, if you did have a bit more time at the moment. So I've took the main objection and I've isolated it for a second to see if that, like deep down, is this something you'd be interested in, or is this a smokescreen? If he says yes, then that was a legitimate objection. If he says no, or I'm not sure, or something like that, then this was a smokescreen objection for some other problem that you might have. And in that case, you're going to have to do some digging, do some investigating, and find the root cause of this problem. Just delete that, so now we'll do it with this. I need to speak to my business partner. Again, it's not the best example to use it with this one, but it still works. Gotcha. Gotcha, man. For sure. Go speak with him and back to me. In fact, yeah, for sure, go speak to him. Just curious, is something that you personally like the idea of? So just curious, I'm just sort of removing his business partner from the equation for a bit. So I got you, man, for sure, go speak with him. Just showing understanding, showing that I'm genuine. Just curious though, is this something that you personally like the idea of? Forget your business partner for a second. Forget that guy. Is this something that you personally like the idea of? Of course, if he's got an objection like this, then it's not very likely that I'm going to be able to close him on call. But I can at least set it up to the point where he's going to sell the business partner for me. If the other person is not on the call with you, it's important that you at least sell the guy that you're on call with, and then that guy can convince the other guy to get involved. But if you don't at least sell this one guy, then there's no chance that this is going through. So by doing this, I'm selling this guy, and once he tells me that he likes the idea of this, now I can then tell this guy to go tell his business partner this and this, and make sure to convince him blah 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 blah. So I don't feel comfortable letting you on my account. This is a trust objection, and trust objections you've got to handle very delicately. You've got to like show empathy on crack. Like empathy is like the name of the game here. You've got to show empathy on crack. Okay, I don't feel comfortable letting you on my account. This is something that you're going to get a lot if you're working with businesses that have never had appointment setters before. This is a trust objection. Trust. You and to handle a trust objection, you've got to seem more trustworthy. So how would you seem more trustworthy? I completely get it, man. Of course, you don't know me, and I don't know you. You worked hard growing this business, same way I have worked very hard. The same way I've worked very hard mastering appointments then. My mentor is Temi Lowry, and I certainly won't want to get into any legal trouble over. I certainly wouldn't want to get into any legal trouble over doing things with your account. Or my mentor is Temi Lowry. Would it make you I completely get it, man. Of course, you don't know me, and I don't know you. That's a very powerful statement. Okay, I completely get it, man. Of course, you don't know me, and I don't know you. You know, you're addressing the problem. You're showing that you're a stranger to him. I'm a stranger to you. You're showing that you understand. Again, like I said, empathy on crack. That's what you want to be doing when you're handling trust-based objections. I completely get it. I'm just a stranger in your inbox. Completely get it. You don't know me. I don't know you. These are all things that you need to implement when you're dealing with trust objections. This is going to really get through their defenses. Again, they've got the guard up. You've got slip, roll, get on the inside, boys. This is how you do that. You have worked very hard growing this business the same way I've worked very hard mastering appointment setting. Again, you are making yourself seem relatable. You see how you're telling him something, you're telling him that you understand him, and then you're relating that to yourself as well. You're showing that you care, you understand, and you're also becoming more relatable. This is going to help them trust you. This is going to help them know you a little bit more. They're going to help you trust you. My mentor is Temi Lowry. You're giving yourself social proof. Would you feel more comfortable if we set up a contract covering my permissions with your account and then asking a question? You're not trying to convince him. You are just asking a question. That's the name of the game here, boys. When I did door-to-door sales, I learned a little bit more of an aggressive objection handling tactic, which would quite often leave me at the door, like borderline arguing with people, just having a straight standoff. And even though this did help me get past the objections and eventually book them in for the call, it wouldn't result in many sales, and there'd be a lot of blowouts. And there wouldn't be many sales. So this is the approach that I learned, was slightly more aggressive. So aggressive, good conversion rates, but this led to bad quality. This led to very bad quality. So I'm booking calls, but the calls are not sitting and they're not selling. So what's the point? Well, by using the tactical empathy approach, they're going to drop their guard, are more likely to sell. They're going to drop their guard and more likely to sell, more likely to close the deal. And that's what you want as an appointment setter at the end of the day. There's no point of booking calls if they're not going to sell. So there's lots of different types of objections. There's lots of different ways of handling different objections. But this is a skill that needs to be mastered, boys. This is no easy topic. This is a very, very broad subject. This video, I don't know how long it is, maybe about a 20-minute video. That 20 minutes is definitely not enough to even scratch the surface of objection handling. This is a massive subject. The more practice you do on this, the more natural it's going to become, all right? The main things that you need to take away is just by showing empathy. That's the key word of this whole thing, showing empathy, because by showing empathy, this is what's going to help you get past their defenses. Because if they're giving you objections, their defenses are up. If their defenses weren't up and they were opening you in with open arms, then of course you would have a sale and you wouldn't have to handle objections. So showing empathy is the key. This is a skill that needs to be practiced, boys. Just the same way all of your other skills. This is something that literally needs to be practiced on a regular basis. So if you don't currently have any clients and stuff like that to practice with, I highly recommend utilizing this group, boys. We've got a men-only program here. We've got a great group chat. I'm here to support you. The boys are here to support you. I really highly recommend you actually utilize the group chat and ask for feedback, ask for advice, ask to practice, do some role play with some of the other boys, join our group calls. Objection handling is a very, very in-depth skill that needs to be practiced on a regular basis. Also, boys, I highly recommend jump on YouTube, do some digging. Everyone's got different perspectives, different ways of handling objections. Based on my experience, obviously, like I said, I started off with a more aggressive way of objection handling. That's what I learned back in door-to-door sales, like that savage mentality. And I got back in door-to-door sales. I got the police called on me 7 times in the space of 2 months. I used to get the police called on me on a regular basis. So that shows that this aggressive way of handling objections was not the best way to go about it. Now I've used the tactical empathy approach, and last month I had a closing rate of 72% for my coaching business. So for me, the tactical empathy approach is what works best. Show that you understand them. Instead of just trying to present, you want to present a solution, of course, but instead of just trying to completely dismantle their argument, you want to ask questions to get them thinking, to get them to realize that you are the solution. That's the key. It's all about mindset here, boys. It's all about mindset. You want them to come to the conclusion themselves. You don't want to tell them the conclusion and they believe you. You want them to tell themselves the conclusion so that they believe themselves, because that's what's going to result in the quality leads, boys. Again, as I was saying before, everyone's got different takes on objection handling, different point of views. Jordan Belfort's got a good video on this, and there's tons of videos out there, books out there, courses out there, but this is my approach. Whether it's time-based objections, trust-based objections, other people objections, religious objections, there's so many different types of objections that you're going to encounter. There's no way for me to cover it all in this video, but it's important about building this skill. There's no one secret formula to solve all objections. It's just a skill that you've got to practice, and it will come to you more naturally over time. I hope these examples sort of give you an idea of how to do this. Another objection that you might encounter is like, I need to think about it. The way that you would handle an objection like that, I've not really covered that, is say, oh yeah, when do you want to get started? Oh, I need to think about it, bro. Okay, no worries. I will make a note of it on my calendar to get back to you in a couple of days. Just curious though, before I go, so make it look like you've showed you understand, you're walking away. Again, tactical empathy. Yeah, I completely understand, bro. I'll make a note to follow up in a few days. Like, that sounds like you're not even trying to fight them. Like, okay, sure, go away and do your thing. It sounds completely that's like a perfect display of empathy. Just curious though, before I let you go, what is it that you need to think about, just so I know what to expect in our next call? And then they're going to tell you the real objection, because again, smoke screens. Most objections that they give you is a smoke screen. And what this means is fake to hide the real. A fake objection to hide the real problem. So by doing this, by making out that you're about to walk away and you completely understand their situation, perfect chess move. They've dropped their guard completely, and now they're going to tell you the real reason for walking away, and then you can handle that objection accordingly. So, oh yeah, well actually, I just needed to think about the price because it's quite expensive. And now you've got the real reason. Now you've got a price-based objection. Now you can handle that accordingly. Okay, I completely get it, man. Yeah, it is quite a lot of money, especially it's definitely is quite a lot of money, especially for someone who's just working a regular 9 to 5 at the moment. So let me ask you now, bro. Money aside, if you had the money to get started with this, is this something that you like the sound of? There's something that you can see getting you to the goals that you've told me about. Now that you've removed the smoke screen, you can now handle the actual objection accordingly. In this case, it was a price-based objection, and I handled that by isolating the objection. Smoke screen, I'll make a note of that as well, actually. Isolating objections. This is a good thing to have in your arsenal, because it works for most objections, to be honest. This is where you remove just temporarily remove the objection. So if it's a price-based objection, just curious, bro, if you did have the money at the moment, so you've removed the actual objection, is this something you'd go through with? Time-based objection. Just curious, bro, if you did have the time at the moment, is this something you do? That's what isolating objections means. Again, this is a big rabbit hole that you can go deep into with handling objections. Again, it's just a muscle that you've got to work out, boys. It's a muscle that you've got to work out. You've got to keep practicing this, and once it becomes second nature, you will see your conversion rates, whether appointment setting or closing, go to the next level. In appointment setting, you are still going to have to deal with objections. Like most of the things I've told you about are mainly on the closing side, but in appointment setting, you're still going to have to deal with objections. When you're actually trying to book the call, people will give you objections about like not wanting to book the call. Like, oh, I'm busy at the moment. Can we just talk over text? In that situation, you've got to because it's your job to book the call, right? So now you've got to handle the objection to sell the call. So of course, if they say, oh, I'm busy at the moment, can we talk through text? You're just going to say something like, oh, I completely get that, bro. I am just the appointment setter at the end of the day, and the call won't be long by any means. When would be a better time to catch you? Asking a question, mark it in your follow-up sheet, use your CRM system, and then follow up in a couple of days when they've actually got time. Of course, everything that I've told you about, you can apply to your appointment setting anyway. Of course, it's mainly for closers, but you can apply this into your appointment setting. You're not going to get as many objections from people that don't want to book the call, but it is going to happen. It is going to pop up eventually, and it's a good tool to have in your arsenal when that moment arises. Because obviously, you can't just turn around and just submit. You can't just submit like, okay, bro, no worries, have a good day. Then you've not done your job. Objections were made to be handled literally. In most deals, in most cases, at least one objection has to be handled, whether it's in the DMs or on the call. So, as appointment setters in the sales industry, we can't just walk away at the first no. Can't just walk away at the first no. We've got to keep handling these objections. No matter what they say, we've got to find a way around it, boys. There's always a way around it. Objections were made to be handled, and we're the alpha setters. We don't back down from objections. No way. So anyway, hope this helped, boys. quite a meaty subject today, very important subject. Hope it helps, and please, please, please utilize the chat, utilize the community that we've got here. Make sure you are practicing your objection handling and asking for feedback, boys. Keep grinding. We are going to be talking about pain points in this video. I'll be more specific. We're going to be talking about how to actually find pain points of your prospects. This is a very important thing in appointment setting and in sales in general, to find them. So first of all, we'll obviously cover what is a pain point. If you guys are new to this industry, you might have never heard of this term before, and a pain point is something that is a part, so it's going to be business related, of course, something about their business that causes them pain, something that if they could change something about their business or something that they need to improve on, what would that be? What is the main problem that they are currently facing with their business? What's the main problem they are currently facing with their business, of course. So that is what a pain point is. The reason why this is important for us to find this is because in sales, in the sales industry, we are professional problem solvers. It is our job to solve their problems. Whether we are doing client work or we are doing our own personal prospecting, it's very important to find the pain point. And I'll give you some examples. Let's say you reach out to a business owner who is not currently, they've just started their high ticket coaching business and they are not getting enough leads. They are currently working a full-time job and this is their side hustle and they're not getting enough leads. So their pain point is they're not getting enough leads. Then you can ask them, what are you currently doing to generate leads? They're doing cold outreach, but they don't have much time due to them having a full-time job. You've just identified two different pain points. They're not getting enough leads and therefore not making enough money. That's a pain point. And they don't actually have time to do more cold outreach. That's not having enough time is a second pain point. So pain points are, again, it's the main problem that they are currently facing. The typical ones, if you're doing personal prospecting, will be not enough leads. It'll be not enough leads or not enough time. These are the main two things when you're doing personal prospecting. Or if you're working for a business, then like let's say you're working for the same fitness company, your target audience, their pain points might be like they're fat, they're overweight, they feel insecure, they're depressed, they don't have long left to live unless they lose weight. Like these are all that genuine pain points, right? These are the main problems that they are currently facing, and they are. Obviously, it all just depends on the target audience. So when you are messaging business owners, these are the two things that you'll typically encounter as pain points. So how do you actually find these pain points? To actually extract these pain points, you need to ask very targeted questions, obviously about their business. Some people will be easier to get pain points from than others. Some people have got their defenses really high and they don't want to give you any intelligence. They don't want to give you any intel. Some people are very open, are very trusting. They will tell you that they'll answer all of your questions. They'll be super honest. It'll be really easy to build that connection with them and they'll give you their pain points. Some people don't even realize that they have pain points. Some people are just so far in denial. Some people bury their pain points so deep inside because they don't want to confront it. Some people are just delusional. And these are the people that we need to help the most. The delusional ones, we need to find a way to extract that pain point. We need to amplify the pain point in order to actually get them to admit that, because they can't help themselves, or we can't help them until they actually admit that they have a problem, of course. So how do we go about doing this? How do we ask targeted questions in order to find the pain point? So first of all, it helps if you sort of have an idea of your target audience and you sort of have an idea of what their pain points typically are. It's very important to understand your avatar. I know the ins and outs of my target audience. I know that if I'm reaching out to people about appointment setting, one of their pain points is probably something around they want to quit their job, they want to make more money online, they want to retire their mom, they want to escape the matrix, etc., etc. These, I sort of know the pain points already. So if I ask targeted questions in order to target these specific answers, then that's going to help speed up the process, right? So if I know someone's probably got a 9-to-5 job and they want to quit and they hate their manager, I would ask, what do you currently do for work, bro? Oh, how do you find that job? And then they're going to tell me about their job, right? So they're going to tell me what they think about their job. They might not be the type of person to just give me their pain point straight away. So therefore I've got to go, okay, how long have you been doing that for? And what are your plans for the future? And I've got to keep digging a little bit more, right? But you're going to be asking targeted questions. Let's say you are doing your personal prospecting. Some of the questions that you typically ask are things like, Do you manage everything yourself? If they say yes, then of course, then you're going to be like, oh wow, you've got so much on your plate. How many hours a day do you work? Or this seems pretty full on. How do you have time to enjoy yourself, or something like that? If they say they're managing everything themselves, then you've got an impression that they don't have enough time, and you can keep digging. You can keep going from there. You could say how do you manage everything? It seems like you have so much work. How do you manage everything? It seems like you have so much work. Not enough leads. How many leads do you get on average per week? Do you have many students? Do you have many students? Do you get many new students? Same sort of question, but different. Do you have, that's past tense, and do you get, that's sort of like an ongoing thing. Do you get many students? Has this business been profitable for you so far? Has this business been profitable for you so far? Here's a good one. What's the main problem you are currently facing with your business? So notice how all of these questions are something where there's an option for a pain point. They're like all of these things, like an answer could be either they don't have enough time or they don't have enough leads. These are all targeted questions where you are specifically trying to extract a pain point from them. Of course, you need to understand your target audience. It's very important. If you're doing client work, you need to have a conversation with your appointment setting manager or your client, the business owner. You need to have a conversation with them about their target audience. That you need to gather this intel, because you need to know these things. You need to know what their pain points typically are, like what you are typically looking for in order to create specific questions in order to target those specific pain points. These are some examples of ones when you're doing your personal prospecting, when you're messaging business owners, obviously offering your appointment setting services. These are some questions that you can use to sort of extract pain points. Use your brain as well. Don't just copy and paste these questions. Use your brain. Try to find things that are more relevant to that specific conversation that you're having. But these are the sort of things that you're going to be asking. What I do want to include as well is that it's important that when trying to find pain points, like I said earlier, that some people are going to give you them easily, some people are not going to give you them very easily. What's important is that you actually try to build a connection with these people, build trust. You need to build a foundation of trust before you start trying to identify pain points, right? If you have you've already established trust, you built some rapport, they trust you, you trust them, you're having a good conversation, going backwards and forwards, then they're going to be much more likely to open up to you. And another thing is, it's very important to not come across as a salesman. If they get the whiff that you're selling something, then their defenses are going to go straight up, and you're not going to get anything from them. As soon as they sense that you are selling, you're a salesman, then they're not going to want to talk to you. They're not going to want to answer these questions, because these are all questions where it's sort of like it's not private, but like it's a little bit on the private side. You know what I mean? Like they're a little bit risky. Like these are questions that you're not just going to want to start answering to everyone. So make sure to build rapport, build a foundation of trust, build that relationship, and then obviously ask these targeted questions. But of course, when it does come to asking questions, what you want to do is make your less intrusive questions at the end. I mean, you want to start with less intrusive questions and then build your way up to the riskier ones, right? So you're not just going to say, how many leads do you get per week as the first message you ask them, because they're going to be like, what? Who's this guy? Start off with light questions that like they don't mind answering, like how long have you been doing this for, or what made you want to get into this, and then slowly work your way down to some of the deeper questions like this. Yeah, I think I've covered everything anyway. Hope this helped, boys. In the next video, we're going to be talking about how to actually leverage these pain points. So on to the next.